Behold, trapped in a hellscape of their own invention, socially unaware old white men bound by the pretense of being fake lawyers yet knowing no law, no exquisite Latin terminology, they are inexplicably compelled to quibble over minutia, squabble over triflings, and bicker like those who value their backyards far too highly without even knowing the difference between an easement and an alleyway. At this very moment, you have entered the heart of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. Let's get started.
Welcome to another edition of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker on this October 13th, 2021. For those of you who are watching this on YouTube, no, I didn't lose my shoulders. I'm just wearing a weird shirt that Zoom doesn't like. And so occasionally I will look like I have a giant head and tiny little body. So it's quite fascinating to see. Anyway, our guest for today has not shown up, so we'll, that's why I don't say who our guests are in advance, because sometimes things just go awry, and that's kind of how it goes. But the funny thing is that we were going to have a substitute guest for the other guest that couldn't make it, and now neither of them have shown up. So,
we don't even have a substitute for him.
Brendan's not here. So once again, it's back to our original format of the beginnings of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. So our client for today is a friend in need, a friend indeed, and a friend in weed. And so that's what we'll be discussing. But first, Greg, I believe you have got us a fake sponsor for today.
This was quick. I
didn't
get
fake bills.
Because you guys are kind of greed heads. I always get public service announcements for the show because I want to do good for the community.
Oh, well,
you guys
want
to make fake money. So, here's our sponsor.
A PSA. A PSA is not a sponsor.
It kind of is. When it's a fake sponsor that doesn't pay us money, it might as well be. It's the same difference. Hi, this is Greg Penix, village idiot of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. Today I'd like to talk about a problem that impacts millions of Americans. Our main weapon against it is awareness, which is why the National Haberdashers Union has paid me very lucratively to talk about Newsies caps. Each day, middle-aged men sow confusion amongst the populace by impersonating actual hard-working newsboys. Citizens are filled with quandary as to whom they should ask for a daily paper. What with 45-year-old bass players posing as counterfeit news dealers. In a country as great as ours, this is unacceptable. A cap on your head could mean a cap in your ass. And I don't know what that last line meant at all. It's threatening. It's a little violent. I think the National Haberdashers Union is going to hunt down these people. Or the news dealer union.
I can't tell if you finished the public service announcement or not.
That's done.
Okay.
It was done when I started.
Is this because you're fighting back against Brendan taking offense to calling out his cap?
For some reason, that was the only thing I could think of. It wasn't like I set out to do it. And then I was just like, this could be a good PSA. I had no ideas. I couldn't think of anything. I was racking my head for I got off work like an hour and a half ago, and I got nothing.
Well, it sounded good, I got just confused at the end because you combined the PSA with reality, and then I didn't know what was going on.
That was just me. I ended it, and then I was commenting on it.
Yeah, you probably should have ended it with, and this is PSA has been brought to you by the whatever, and then we would have known it was over.
We could edit that in.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. So moving on to our client for today. Our client,
sorry, Brendan,
is a friend in need, a friend indeed, and a friend in weed. Now, what is this about? Well, for those of you who have listened to the show for a while, I don't know who you are because, I just know 4 people. So the 4 people I know who actually listen to the show, you probably know why we're doing this particular client, because of the fact that I apparently have no idea what a friend is, because I'm always saying that I have no friends, and then Greg and other people yell at me because they feel that I'm denying them.
No, we correct you.
Their due.
Very calmly correct you.
Their due recognition.
You seem to have some strange definition of what a friend is. You obviously have friends.
I used to think I had friends, and then I was pointed out by a girlfriend back in college that I didn't have friends. I just had a lot of acquaintances because of I didn't really apparently know what a friend was, and I've basically maintained that confusion for the rest of my life since then. Like,
well, everyone has a different definition of what a friend is, but I'm pretty sure if you like hanging out with someone, you care about them. If they're in a jam, you help them out. That's a friend.
I think it's the care about them part that gets me into trouble. But is that your definition of what a friend is, Greg?
Roughly.
Okay.
There's many definitions, many layers of friendship. Some people you can't stand, but they're still your friend.
Uh-huh.
You don't like being around them, but you got a kinship with them, past, history.
Okay. But if you don't like being around them, why would they be your friend?
I don't know. They just are. They're still basically someone who I'm simpatico with on some level.
Define simpatico.
Where we, maybe we think about things the same way, or maybe we both like getting our head scratched, or whatever things we have in common.
Okay, so it's just things you have in common. Would be
Could
your
be.
definition
That's part
of
of
what a friend
friendship.
is. Okay.
A lot of friends are based on that.
Okay.
Like video game guys, they love playing video games, so they're kind of friends. They hang out all the time.
Right.
And they end up chatting and joking around.
So according to Google definitions, a friend is a person whom one knows. All right, well, that makes sense. And with whom one has a bond of mutual affection, typically exclusive of sexual or family relations.
You got to stop looking up definitions on Google. It's not a real dictionary. It's fake.
Well, they generally get their definitions from actual dictionaries and put them up, so that's where they come from.
That sounds pretty good. Yeah, sure.
A bond of mutual affection. So then it becomes, well, what does affection mean?
You have a little. You give a shit about them a little, even if they drive you crazy. You still want to be in their life and still want to be like, I got to call this guy. He's a pain in the ass, but he's my pal, and I'm curious to see what he's up to. Hope he's okay.
Well, according to Wikipedia, mutual affection is a stronger form of interpersonal bond than an association. So you have affection that creates a bond, and then associations which create a bond, which is, I guess, acquaintanceships, right? Or other kinds of ships.
That's an association, they're saying? Acquaintanceships.
Yeah, that's my interpretation of that.
Just someone you don't even care about, but you work with them every day, maybe.
So I guess it comes down to like the levels of affection, right? So like, what would be levels of affection, barring French kissing, something prior to that.
Well, I think they were saying there's usually not a sexual component.
Generally excluded that, but that's what's a girlfriend, what's a boyfriend, right?
Well, there's friends with benefits, as the kids like to say.
Is it just the kids who like to say that? Because I've heard you say it before. I guess
those kids are in their 40s, but they're kids to me.
And apparently their 50s as well.
Yeah. So friends with benefits, that blurs the line, but they don't want to be together like life partners, but they do have the sex and affection for each other. So that gets a little hazy.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you throw like sex into the mix, that it skews the nature of that relationship into something different. I guess there are people who are able to maintain those boundaries, those barriers between an emotional attachment and sex.
Yeah.
Where friends with benefits can maintain itself, but I think it creates a different kind of intimacy than what you have with a basic friendship, right?
Oh yeah, it does.
And I think it's like the intimacy is a weird thing too, because you can be intimate with somebody without having sex with them, and you could be at arm's length with somebody that you have had sex with.
Yes.
But then it's like, what are they? What is that person? So like, say a one-night stand. You wouldn't say that person is a girlfriend or a boyfriend generally.
Yeah, I find it weird when you're having sex with someone, even if they're not, it's just starting, you're not even that close.
Yeah.
They're way nicer to you than any of your friends that you've known for years are. Like, I can knock at their door at 3 a.m. and be like, can I sleep in your bed? And they'll make me breakfast the next day. You wouldn't do that for me. You'd be like, get the fuck out of here.
You make your own breakfast, buddy. I don't get up that early.
You just be like, take a lift home and go to your own bed.
Well, no, I mean, if you showed up at 3 a.m, you need a place to stay, I'd stick you on a couch.
I guess.
Yeah, but I wouldn't put you.
Though.
I wouldn't put you in the bed with me.
Yeah, but when you're having sex with someone, it's like they want you to be there too. I don't know. It's weird, even if you're not lovers, like in love.
Yeah.
I mean,
that whole initial creation of a relationship is kind of weird too, because most of the time, as far as I know, people don't show all the warts off the bat. That you have.
Yeah.
All of the
they
psychoses. What?
You hold in your farts on the first few dates.
Yeah, and at some point later on, you become familiar enough with the other person where you're willing to allow them to experience your fragrance that exudes
from, and then you give them,
from the nether regions.
You give them Dutch ovens in bed.
I do that to acquaintances, though. Just like somebody walking down the street. I carry a blanket with me just in case I need it.
You put it over their head. Both of you.
Just random people.
Gotcha.
You look friendly. Hey there, hold on a second.
And then you run away giggling.
No, I walk slowly, confidently away, knowing that they've experienced something they would never be able to tell another friend of their own.
There's a guy in Florida doing this right now. The police are looking for him. He's done it like 50 times and they can't catch him.
Yeah, his name is Shanty Pants. Then he moved to North Dakota. So shout out to the Happy Hour news team. Anyway, but it's an interesting concept to think about. I bet there's somebody on YouTube doing something like that, though. Some stupid prank thing where they're putting blankets on people and farting into them and making them smell.
Or the Jackass TV show, that old show, they probably did something like that.
They were more about abusing themselves or their direct friends.
I've seen some, though, where they play pranks on strangers, where they just, do some crazy shit just to see everyone's reaction around them.
I don't know if I noticed those. I bet it was more like...
There was a great one. There was a great one where this guy dressed up as if he was, a doddering old 80-year-old guy.
Oh, right.
And he just went into the store and was just running into everything. But he's an old man, so people are like, get the fuck out of the store. They're just like, sir. And he's just like, sorry.
Yeah, I think it was Johnny Knoxville did a whole movie dressed up like that or something.
Oh, really? And then he took a shit in the display toilet. It's the hardware store.
I think they did that in general. Found toilets.
I'd like to do that before I die.
Why? Just so you could ruin somebody's day?
And I'd also like to have sex in a department store bed.
Why?
It would be thrilling.
Would it? Yeah. Why? Why would it be thrilling? I mean, what's the point?
Because at any minute, a clerk could come around.
So?
Yeah, then you get arrested.
But, I mean, why even? I don't even understand why people do things like that. It doesn't make sense to me.
You never read about public sex? Sex in public?
The only thing I can think of is a time where I got kind of hot and heavy with a young lady in high school in bleachers at a stadium that was... Oh,
bleachers are designated fuck areas.
Like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. I can't remember.
That's not in public. Bleachers are made to fuck under.
This wasn't under the bleachers.
Oh, right on top.
It was on top of the bleachers, yeah.
And then you went to the 50-yard line.
No, we didn't do that. The publicist goes, oh my God, I completely forgot. She forgot to send the guest the link. Oopsie. I'm gonna say, you want to come on?
I wish we could fire her.
No. I'm gonna see if I can get her to come on.
She doesn't work for us, so we can't fire her.
I know, she does all this for free. It would be awesome. Mm-hmm. But so as a penalty, we'll make her have to talk to you and I.
Is she gonna come on?
I don't know. She goes, oh my God, my fault. I completely forgot. And I wrote, oopsie, you want to come on? We'll see if she's available.
Could she send him the link right now? Maybe the guy's free.
Who knows? I mean, it's 5:30, so it's it's gonna make us go over. But
we'll anyway, just the show. The guest will be the second half of the show.
Well, this makes me beg additional questions. So you can have business acquaintances,
and
then can you have business friendships? Because I got to say that with this particular publicist, I think there's a mutual affection with us because she's, and not just with me, but I mean with all three of us, because she's been so helpful in terms of dealing with our show and promoting us. And she says she can't because she has no makeup on. I'm going to say we don't either. We don't.
I do.
Have makeup on.
Got a little bit of rouge on. It's very
I'm
subtle.
an old man because I text with one finger.
Me too. I don't know how those kids do that.
I know they do it with their thumbs, right? And they
Yeah.
and I mistype with one finger constantly. I can't imagine how badly I would mistype using just my thumbs to hit these stupid little things. Anyway, so she just responded after I said we don't have makeup on either. Ha 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 ha. But I don't think she's going to go for it. Oh, and then she wrote, "Oh shit."
I let her put a paper bag over her head, like the Unknown comic.
Like that guy that we had on who used to work with the Unknown comic.
She'll be the Unknown Publicist.
Yeah, well, I could suggest it to her. Put a bag on your head. She just keeps saying she's so sorry. I'm going to say, don't worry about it. Don't worry about
Be happy.
it. We've done
I'm
this
just
before.
shot of tequila then.
You're going to do a shot of tequila?
Erotic shot.
Are you going to pour it?
Erotic shot.
Oh, okay. So that's a sake cup.
Yeah. This is how I like to do my shots. It's smoother on the lips.
Do you then look the do you then lick the nipples on the glass?
Of course.
Of course.
Why wouldn't
But
you?
strangely enough, there's no texture to these boobs.
Well, the thing is, if you lick them long enough, they get a little erect.
Do they? Do you have a special kind of cup that does that?
Yeah.
It's like psychoactive paint that's on the side of your shot glass. You should do the same thing with that giant cup you drink out of. With the
Well, what would come
on
out? The A would come out.
I don't know. That thing looks so like beat up and filthy, that particular thing. I think you need to repaint it or draw something on it.
Oh my God, if I could show you the insides because I can't tilt it enough, it's so wine stained. Like I just never washed it. I just put it back in the fridge. And it just says it's just dark wine stains inside. But I figure it's cured. It's seasoned, this mug.
Well,
So
I mean, like it's like a frying pan?
It's like a mulled wine. It makes the wine mold more.
I think it's more of a mold wine. In other words,
mold.
there's mold growing at the bottom of it.
It's like blue cheese wine. It's an acquired taste.
You get your special blue cheese wine today. We have a little camembert wine. We also have some brie.
Gorgonzola wine.
Yes, that sounds good, actually. Anyway, all right, so friendship. So why do I have an issue with friendship? Why do I have an issue with friendship?
I think you just don't like to admit it. I think you're confused about what a friend should be. Like, a friend could just be someone you kind of like hanging out with. And, like, you like hanging out with me. You'd stop calling me to go to karaoke if you didn't like me a little.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I like you a little.
Yeah, so that's a friend.
But I'm not gonna lick your nipples.
Well, that's not friendship. That's friendship with benefits.
Well, you just did that to your cup, though, so that's why I'm saying.
Yeah, but this isn't my friend. This is sex.
I beg to differ. It's got tequila in it. It's definitely your friend.
It is.
You're actually licking it. I can't believe you did that.
I was seeing if it worked. I convinced myself.
Right, yeah, it'll magically come to life. It's just like something out of a movie.
Well, I'll have a little
Why don't you try rubbing it, see if you get a genie out of it, too.
Rub it against my balls.
That would just be horrible, and I don't even want to envision that. So, okay, so what's my issue with friends? So, well, the title is A Friend in Need, A Friend Indeed, and A Friend in Weed. Now, we do know that, I mean, back in the days when I used to do drugs, there were friends that you had that weren't really friends that you hung out with. They just were friends because they had weed.
Yeah, and you'd smoke with them.
Right, and that would be the extent of the time you wanted to spend with them.
Yeah, so they weren't really friends. You were using them, basically.
Right, or they were using me, or vice versa. Right.
Yeah.
You know, so it would be
someone to talk to.
I know I had a friend that started that way because he would always like anybody who came along, he would light up with them, and then I wound up going there for the free pot, and then later on I wound up actually becoming close friends with the guy, and so that became its own evolution. So it was like he was a friend with benefits, but it was a different kind of benefit,
Yeah.
I suppose, right?
Yeah.
And then there's
Not
friends,
emotionally invested, like sex
right?
didn't
Yeah.
confuse the relationship.
No, that never happened between he and I, and that would have been a terrible thing, actually.
How do you know?
For
He
anybody
might
to
have been a
witness.
great lover.
I don't know, man. No, I think it would have been uncomfortable for both of us.
He could have ushered you into a new realm of sensuality that you didn't know existed.
Yeah, I don't think so. He did, however, introduce me to the fact that I could enjoy some rap music, but at the time I was just like not into it at all.
Was it only when you were high?
No. It was this was back in like 86, 87, 88, maybe 87 or 88, around that time period. And rap music was still relatively in its infancy.
Yeah, it hadn't taken over the pop music.
Yeah, basically what was popular at the time was like Curtis Blow and the Sugar Hill Gang, like the early things. Run DMC was just kind of making their mark around that time period. And he was really into Boogie Down Productions, or KRS One, and which was kind of like the beginning, I think, of gangster rap. They were doing topics that are a little bit harder, along the lines of maybe like Grandmaster Flash, right? And so, and this was a guy I never expected to like that kind of music because he looked like a biker, and actually was a biker. He had a motorcycle, and he had like one of the handlebar mustaches. He looked like one of those guys that you would see at like a biker bar, but he didn't act like that. He didn't act like a hard personality. He was somebody who had like a similar personality to mine.
He wasn't like a Sons of Anarchy guy.
Nah, he wasn't like a serious fellow. No, we joked about things that were just freaking ridiculous. So anyway, so that, I think, it turned into something. So it's like these things that start off as acquaintances. Sometimes the words, they don't come out of my mouth properly. I'm not even doing nothing to cause it to be that way.
Yeah, you're slurring without drinking.
I know. What's going on? I think it's because Jen's been in town for a couple of days and everything's like poison in my system now. It's like I haven't had a couple of days for the alcohol to get out of my system.
Yes. She's an enabler.
She is. Anyway, so which, as we brought up Gorgonzola, it just reminded me of those waffle fries that I had yesterday with the blue cheese on them and the bacon. That was like really good.
Those were quite good.
Yesterday, that particular dish was a friend of mine. It was one that we had a mutual acquaintanceship with.
And yet you ate it and killed it.
I did. I consumed it. It became one with me. It's like from Stranger in a Strange Land,
Oh, if you eat someone, if you really love them,
yes,
their essence.
Then so I took the essence of the waffle fries with the bacon and blue cheese on them, and it's become part of me, and we are one in the universe now. And perhaps that's what we should do with all of our friends at some point, is consume them.
There was that movie Ravenous from like 20 years ago, 25 years ago, where it was in the Old West, and there were these cannibals, and they didn't even explain why, but in this reality of this movie, when you ate someone, you got all their strength. So the more people they ate, they got stronger and stronger. I think they might have even had some of their memories from in their brain. I don't know.
It sounds vaguely familiar. There was a similar science fiction movie with Jet Li called The One, where he was like an interdimensional traveler and he was killing all of the other versions of himself.
Yeah.
And when he killed them, he got all of the powers from that particular one, but he didn't eat them.
Yeah, just watch.
It was kind of like their own take on Highlander, I suppose. Like there can be only one, but in this case, there can only be one Jet Li, and you'd be like ultra powerful Jet Li man.
So, have you ever had a friend that
you ever had a friend?
Have you ever had a friend? I know you don't admit to having friends, but someone who was akin to a friend, by the definition. And for a long time, with no thought about like, oh yeah, I want to get with this person. But then it happened, and then you ended up having a relationship with them, like a serious relationship.
You mean like a friend that became like a girlfriend?
Yeah.
No. No, I've never really had women friends that went anywhere other than strictly friendship. You know,
Almost all my girlfriends were, a lot of them were just my friends. And I was just like, I like this person a lot.
Yeah.
Then as I hung out with them longer, either they or me or both were like, hey, this is something more. So to me, it was just segued perfectly because, see, I'm like, when it comes to romance, I have a very simple definition. It's like someone you're attracted to and someone you like a lot, like a really good friend. You put those together, that equals love.
Okay.
And so it was just, okay, the friend thing's done. And now it turns out we got good chemistry. So,
the friend thing is done?
Well, it's been sussed out. We know we like each other. Like when you met girls that you weren't friends with, you didn't know if you even liked them at first. You were like, oh, we're having sex. And then she might have turned out to be a hoppy.
A hoppy? What's a hoppy?
Harpy.
Oh,
sorry.
It's a happy. Yeah, like doing like the Long Island accent. It's a happy. You don't like that kind of girl? Get a hoppy. You don't like that neither.
I slipped into a Simpsons reference again. Sorry. It's just, they pop up all the time.
It's a poppy? The hoppy pop deep?
She's a hoppy. She's a hoppy. But, so like I already knew that I liked this person inside and out. I knew everything about him. And then it's like, oh, and now it turns out we have nice sex together. So that equals love.
So why do you think that I can't like commit to saying people are friends of mine?
I don't know. It's because they are. Just say it. Just say, Greg's my friend.
Well, I have admitted, I have come to grips with the fact that you and Jen are friends of mine. But I've made that a pretty exclusive statement. I mean, I'll say Brendan is a friend, obviously. But I don't know who else to give that particular appellation to.
What about Corey?
You
like Corey? You love
friendly acquaintance.
You hung out all the time. It seemed like you'd laugh together. So much sense
right, but where's the communication now? Right.
Well, it's just like you and Brendan.
So the question is it mutual affection, right? Because that was part of like the definition of friendship is that there's a bond of mutual affection. So where is the mutual affection coming? Where is it?
Well, I think you had mutual affection. Some people do move away and they just cut off all ties. I've had pretty close friends who they moved away and all of a sudden they never call me again. It was just like, well, that chapter of my life's over. But you were like that with Brendan pretty much. Didn't you like not call Brendan for years before you called him about the podcast?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I didn't even call him. I mean, I saw him. He had come to town because his daughter was going to school in Washington.
Yeah.
And so we got together, and that's how I remembered how easy our communication style was between us. And the last time I'd seen him, I think must have been like 10, 15 years before that. It was like in 2000. It was like the last time I saw my dad, which was like in 2006 or something.
So even call, and you haven't even called them in those 10, 15 years?
I don't think so. It might have been for something. I mean, like, because he would be sporadically on Facebook, so we would kind of communicate that way. And I think Facebook has been kind of the bane to a lot of stronger friendships for a lot of people because as opposed to picking up a phone and calling people, you just communicate via Facebook where you have the Facebook friendship. And in my opinion, and again, it's just for me, I don't feel an obligation to go above and beyond that form of communication, unless there's something really important that needs to be delivered. Yeah, well, I'm saying, communicating through Facebook.
Facebook friends aren't friends.
Well, I mean, a lot of people are friends on Facebook. They have mutual affection through Facebook. They haven't necessarily connected outside of Facebook, but that doesn't mean they can't be friends in that definition of the mutual affection, right?
Yeah. I guess Facebook isn't to blame, though, because I remember even when we just had cell phones first started, it just seemed like people would always be like, why are you calling me? You could have just texted me. I'm like,
oh man, I
wanna hear
hated
your voice.
texting. I had friends. I mean, I was dating a woman in California when I was living here in Oregon, and that kind of forced me to start doing the texting because you know that, and I had a couple of other people I was friends with here who would text me things. I'm like, going, why are you making me have to text you? I'm like, geez, I hate this shit. I hate.
Well, they
texting.
feel the opposite. They're like, why do I have to pick up a phone and talk to someone? Yeah.
Especially Matt. Why would I want to talk to him?
Yeah, especially my friend.
He's just gonna ramble on and just talk about weird things, and who knows where that's gonna go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna make strange noises and voices.
Right. I'll go. Yeah, I'll make those noises constantly. I can't
Talk
stop
about like
myself.
waspy soda pop.
Oh, hey, that's a good reminder because we're about the midway point here, Greg. So we have.
Did I ever tell you do a really good waspy soda pop impersonation?
Me, I don't know that I've ever actually tried
You're
to.
pretty
do
good at it.
I don't think I've ever done like a Southern accent.
You were really drunk at a bar, and it sounded just like waspy. It was weird.
Well, you know, apparently this is a very special one we get today from Waspy Soda Pop for Food is for Eating. So let me get this thing rolling. It's always tricky me figuring out how to get this to work. But
did you just hear my stomach growl?
I did. Yeah, I think you want to hear this recipe. I think it's an interesting one. So
okay.
Here we go.
Food is for eating, food is for eating, food is for eating with Waspy Soda Pop.
Hey there, this is an extra special edition of Food is for Eating. I brought in my best Italian cousin Vespa Bebitapop with a classic Caesar salad dressing. Buongiorno, I am Vespa Bebitapop and I'm a teacher of Caesar salad dressing, a classic for Italian dining. The dressing is for Caesar salad. It's named after at least one of the 12 Caesars, as Julius, Augustus, Tiberius, Caligula, Claudius, Nero, Galba, Otho, Vitellius, Vespasian, Titus, and Domitian. You should know one of those. Unless you don't go to history class, you would say a problem for you. I don't understand. Anyway, we don't know which of them there is named after, but they're all tasty for your Caesar salad dressing. To make it fully classic, you fly to Roma. You find a kitchen in someone's home. Visit me. I'll let you use my spoons. But you need to get 6 anchovies in oil, 2 egg yolks, 3 garlic cloves, a 1/4 cup of lemon juice. It should be fresh. Get your fresh lemons. 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard. Don't mind the French. It's Dijon, but you can get it anywhere. You get it in Roma. You get it wherever. Get a 1/2 cup of olive oil. You get the good extra virgin olive oil. Oh, so good. A 1/2 cup Parmesan cheese, grated Parmigiano, Reggiano, a Stevitano, whatever kind of it works great, but you grate it, right? And then pepper you'll be adding just to taste. Once you have all that together, you join me on a midnight trip to the mausoleum of Augustus, where his ashes and many of his descendants were placed. When you are there, avoid the guards and you crack open one of the urns. Remove 3 or 4 tablespoons of ashes from one of the dead emperors. I named them already. And place in a plastic baggie. You run fast away. You get back to my kitchen. Okay, now you take all the ingredients in a food processor. You add the anchovies, the egg yolks, the garlic, the lemon juice. You pulse until smooth and creamy. Then you add in the Dijon mustard. Again, avoid the French. The extra virgin olive oil and the Parmigiano cheese. Again, you pulse until smooth. Then you add the Caesar ashes and the pepper to taste. And there you go. Incredibly classic Caesar salad dressing for you to use however you want. You put on lettuce. You can put it on your head. Whatever you want. Thank you, Waspy Soda Pop, for letting me, Vespa Bebitapop, talk to your great American people. Well, thank you, Vespa. That was amazing. See you next time on Food is for Eating.
Food is for eating, food is for eating, food is for eating with Waspy Soda Pop.
Well,
Vespa Bebitapop?
I think it was Bebitapop.
Topo Gigio? What? So, could you ask Waspy to I don't think we need to hear the second round of the theme song at the end of every episode. It's only a minute later. It's 2 minutes later. We have to hear that again.
Well, it's the bookend. It's the thing that lets you know that it's over.
I hope Vespa comes on again because he's a paisan. It's weird though. I don't know what part of Italy he grew up in, but his accent kept slipping a little.
Yeah, I noticed that. It kind of went in and
Yeah.
out. You'd think it's like not really Italian or something.
No, I think maybe he's from a region of Italy where that happens. That's the accent there, the regional dialect.
Naples. Naples is like that where the accent goes in and out.
Yeah.
Or Sicily, one of the two.
Yeah, at some point he almost sounded like a character from Fat Albert. It was very strange.
But hey, who would have thought Caesar salad dressing with actual pieces of a Caesar in it? That's
good stuff.
That's a novelty. It sounds like it would be very expensive. It was like even worse than truffles. It was like you would use up all of the ashes of the Caesars pretty fast if everybody decided to make that.
That's like a felonious recipe. Like
that's one of the problems with Waspy Soda Pop's recipes. He does a lot of things that have limited quantities, and so it's not accessible to everybody. You know, it's not really fair.
Well, also he's like asking you to do illegal acts to make this recipe.
Well, yeah, that was the Italian cousin. This maybe the rules are a little.
No, I think zebras are kind of protected. I don't think you can go around and just eating zebras.
I don't know.
They're kind of a rare species, I think.
Well, they're rare, at least in the United States.
Or elephants. I think elephants are pretty protected.
Yeah, well, I mean, it wasn't. You're talking about for what was that recipe? It was the fatty melt. That was the one.
Yeah, fatty melt.
Had the elephant trunk in it.
Yeah,
maybe he just uses from elephants that are already dying or something, as opposed to going out and killing an elephant just for its trunk.
Well, that's pretty rare, yeah. So sickly elephant meat. Good. Oh, I can taste the death.
That's a statement that I want on a shirt too. I can taste the death. I knew when this chicken died. It was 3 weeks ago.
I think we should just make our whole show, just give it over to Waspy.
All I know is that I feel kind of like multi-personality whenever I heard that last episode of Food and Street, and it was it took me to another place in a corner of my.
I bet you do a great Vespa Bebitapop impersonation too.
Bebitapop?
Yeah.
Apparently, that particular family of the Pops, it's the Pop family. They like to name each other things in their own languages, because I looked those up, and Vespa is actually the Italian word for wasp.
Oh.
And Bebita is the word for soda. But pop in Italian is just pop, so that's why it's
really.
Yeah, so it's actually the name is Wasp Soda Pop in Italian, but not Waspy. So
Yeah, how do you say Waspy?
I don't know. I guess it would be like La Vespa. Well, that'd be the wasp, wouldn't it? So I don't know.
Well, I just think that we should have from now on our show should be 45 minutes of Waspy, and then he just says. And now we're going to talk to the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble Bicker. We're going to 10 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think that would go over very well.
I would love to hear Waspy introduce someone.
I think they both have accent issues where they aren't able to like maintain the accent through the course of it. It would be a little. It's weird just talking about this in the third person too. Anyway, so friendship. So I would say that neither one of us are friends with Waspy Soda Pop because
I wish I was.
We don't have a mutual affection going on. It's strictly one way.
I'm starting to have an affection for him, but he doesn't know me.
No.
Waspy might like me.
I don't even know how Waspy found out about our show to just start submitting these recipes, but I'm glad that
I thought he found you on TikTok.
No, that was Billy Skeels.
Apparently, you just let anyone.
That was our guest from last week.
You let anyone from TikTok on the show. Apparently, I thought that's the new rule.
Not anyone. Although there are people I've been trying to get from TikTok because some people are pretty freaking talented,
Mm-hmm.
But and some people are celebrities. Like I've been trying to get Frank Caliendo, who posts a lot of things on TikTok.
Who's that?
You don't know who Frank Caliendo is? I'm surprised. He was on Mad TV for many years, but he's a well-known impressionist.
I probably know him by face.
You know him you don't follow sports, so he's really well known for his John Madden impersonation And he used to do a very stellar George Bush.
Wait, did he do the Kenny Rogers on Mad TV?
I don't know.
Hi, I'm Kenny Rogers.
He might have. I don't know. It's possible.
That's the only one I kind of know.
And there's like voice actors I try to get to because I figure for a podcast, voice actors are the way to go. So I've become friendly with at least one voice actor on TikTok, and I haven't decided yet about pulling that plug. But you know, the fact is, Billy Skeels was on last week, and I thought it was a really interesting show. I thought it was
quite interesting.
It went well, and it's one of our most popular shows so far. Now, again, as I've speculated, it could be that Billy put it on a loop, has just been listening to it over and over again.
Yeah.
And if Billy, if you're listening today, I'm sorry, but that's kind of how I feel might be the case. Or it's every member of the baseball teams that he coaches. He's making them listen to it, or they don't get to bat that week.
And his 17 children.
I think doesn't he have 5 kids? 4 kids.
I can't remember. Somewhere between 5 and 17.
I think it was 17.
Yeah.
I think he had 4 kids. I know. 4 kids in a burnt fryer.
So they have to listen to the show every day before breakfast. Make your breakfast.
All right. It's like if you want to go to school, you got to listen to the podcast and hear your dad. Because we've got 2 5-star ratings popped up through Apple for that show.
Really?
Yes, one was from Billy and one was from, I think, one of his kids. But, you know, I wasn't supposed to know it was from Billy. Let me see. Also, by the way, just so everybody knows, if you want to find out more about the show, our website is www.qsblaw.org. And just recently, there's a new feature on our website where you can access all of our videos that have been on YouTube without actually having to go to our YouTube channel. You can just go to the menu on the top part of the page, click on videos, and you can get to all of our videos. There's also a store which doesn't have a lot of items in it. There's like T-shirts of me, Greg, and Brendan, and there's drinky things, mugs. You know,
the picture behind Matt. That's
what's available so far at the store. If anybody wants to buy anything there, if you don't, well, you're doing a good job of not buying things right now. But where are the reviews? Why isn't it letting me see the reviews? I want to read them to you. Here we go.
Getting back to the title of our podcast today, what about ass, grass, or ass? No, ass, grass, or gas.
Nobody rides for free? That's got nothing to do with what?
That always reminds me of a friend in weed is a friend indeed.
So this is this is from Ivana Camp. The headline is Funny Ass Guys. I couldn't stop laughing. They had a guest named Billy Skeels on there, and he was not only attractive, but he was fun to listen to and funny. What a great guest. You guys should definitely have him back.
Signed, Billy's mom.
So after I read that, I messaged Billy and said, Billy, did you write this one? He goes, oh, you're not as dumb as you look. I was like, I'm exactly as dumb as I look. But anyway.
But that's easy to see through. What we got to do is maybe Billy should be our 4th lawyer. Have him on every show.
Greg,
shirtless.
Do not open that particular can of
worms.
worms.
Hey, Billy, are you listening? Send Matt emails.
You know it would be very challenging. But, we could do something like have him call in or something during the course of a show.
Sure.
Add him in briefly to do like some kind of a wacky thing like they do on those morning zoo shows or something.
It'd be like our Jackie the Joke Man, Martin.
Yeah, I didn't want to talk about that show, because it's a little too egocentric to put us in that particular category. So here's the other review that popped up because of that last week's episode. It's from ICSNY, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. ICSNY, enter a nickname, which means probably I can't enter a nickname, I'm assuming. And it says, Dear Coach, yay, that my coach, Hess famous, OMG. My coach is famous, OMG. And I hate to break it to the guy who wrote that your coach isn't famous being on this show.
Yeah.
So it's a very limited amount of fame It's famed to that corner of Toledo, Ohio, where he's from, and 4 other people who listen to the show. Although I'm not supposed to say that the 3 billion listeners that we have and viewers that we have, that's all.
Well, it's not Topo Gigio fame.
That's the second time you've mentioned Topo Gigio, Greg. So did you want him to be part of the Food is for Eating segment today? Is that why you brought him up?
No, I want to interview him. He's probably out there somewhere.
Out there dead? I don't think Topo Gigio is still alive.
He was never alive, though. He's eternal. He's a puppet. Anyone could stick their hand up his ass and make him live again.
Oh, he was the puppet. I thought it was the actual person.
You're thinking of Sir Wenceslas's fist? What was that guy? He'd be like,
Good King Wenceslas?
It's LA.
You mean Senor Wences?
Senor Wences.
Okay, so Topo Gigio.
He's a mouse.
The
puppet.
Lead character of a children's puppet show on Italian television in the early 1960s. Created by artist Maria Porrego and her husband Federico Calduro.
But he became huge on Ed Sullivan to American audiences.
He was customarily voiced by Giuseppe Peppino Mazzullo and later from Davide Garbolino.
And Vespa Bebitapop took over.
Bebitapop. Yeah, anyway. So, friendship. Who is a friend of Topo Gigio's, Greg? Everyone? Or just Italian children?
Well, for a while, he was America's sweetheart.
Yeah?
But it was his friend. He had no emotions. He was a lifeless puppet, really. Sorry to burst your bubble.
I thought Topo Gigio was a real person. I didn't realize it was a puppet. That shows how out to lunch I am, as usual.
He had no friends.
Yeah.
He ended up in a closet somewhere, getting moths.
That's kind of like the story of your life as well. It ended up in a closet somewhere.
I'll probably end up that way. As long as there's comic books in the closet, I'll be happy.
So we've talked about how the fact that I don't have friends, but you have lots of friends. And so really, I can count legitimate friends, I think, on like 2 hands. I think I'm willing to admit to like 10 people that I'm actually friends with. Where I've spent time with them, there's mutual affection, they communicate with me without me instigating the conversations. Because I don't look at a friend as a friend if I'm the only one doing the instigating of the conversations. If I have to go after them and they're not responding to me on their own, then I don't think that's a friendship.
That's I guess it's weird because I definitely call people more than they call me, like friends in other cities. But then when we do talk, it seems great, and we talk for 2 hours and have this wonderful fun, make each other laugh, remember things, reminisce. Mm-hmm. But it does seem like as you get older, it's hard to have like those close friendships you had when you were younger, where it's like it was easy to say, "This is my best friend, hang out every day," and then you get older, and it seems friends just kind of drift away.
I think we should call them lapsed friends. In other words, like you had that relationship.
You still are friends. I still think they're friends.
But they're lapsed. In other words, they're not reaching out. They're not attempting to maintain a relationship there. So the mutual affection, the shine has worn off a lot. And
they will eventually call you up. Every few years, they might be like, I want to call them up.
They might call you up, but they ain't calling me up. Let's just put this bluntly, So, and I've certainly been able to handle this with no issues. It's just that other people find it weird that I say that I don't have friends, and I go, well, it's because. Mm-hmm. And I guess if I'm defining it that way, if I'm defining it that the person has to reach out to me to be considered a friend to me, I think that should make things a little more clear for people about my point of view on why I think when I say I have no friends. So I'll give credit to you and Jen. I'm going to give credit to Chris Gowan, too, because she texted me out of the blue yesterday. Yeah. So I'm going to put Chris in what I consider a friend category, because this is how I live my life, is putting people into categories.
And then a huge enemies list like Richard Nixon. It's like friends.
I don't consider that I have any enemies, or if I do, unfortunately, I've forgotten about them, and that will make them even more enemies to me because I've forgotten who they are. And their hatred toward me. So,
and they might ambush you.
It's possible. They could be like bandits. I'll be walking
Like
through a forest.
Big Mike. You'll forget about Big Mike.
I had, actually. Thanks, Greg.
He was kind of an enemy of yours for a while.
Well, he wasn't really an enemy so much as
a pain in the ass.
Somebody that made a lot of people around me unhappy, and so I found it best to find a way to exclude him from my environment. But anyway, regardless, I think we've come to a good point here where I've at least been able to get some kind of clarity for myself.
Yeah.
I think the client did a job of actually educating me today, as opposed to me defending the client.
Well, you mean I educated you? That's what you meant to say. I said you.
If you think so, then you're no longer a friend of mine.
Okay, that's why you have no friends. It was that easy to defriend someone.
It's that easy to put people in the no friend zone for me. Yes, that's quite true. It's like, all right, you're not a friend anymore. I'm still willing to call you an acquaintance, but not really a friend. Hey, I realize that if I tilt my head at the right angle, I get the googly eyes again. If I just go right here.
Whoa!
Look at that. Yeah.
But they're hovering over your eyes. It looks even kind of cooler. It's like something Devo would have done on one of their album covers.
I wish that I could have this just painted onto my glasses so that it looks like I have googly eyes all the time. Anyway,
you can have them tattooed on your eyeballs.
I could. I found out a number of years ago that my mother had tattooed eyeliner on, which I thought was the weirdest thing.
Yeah, I've heard that people do that.
But what makes it even weirder? In the Jewish religion, and she's very much a Jew, you can't be buried in a Jewish cemetery if you have a tattoo.
I know. Tattoos are verboten. They're not cool. They're not kosher.
Verboten. If you're
They're not kosher.
Say it, properly.
Verboten. Bop.
It's boaten. Boaten, like you step into a boat and you go on a river.
You just sound like the main vampire from What We Do in the Shadows.
What do you do in what you do in your closet?
What we do in my closet.
All right. Well, I think it's been an interesting show today. We didn't have a client, and this time we can blame it on the publicist for making it not happen.
I just want to say I'm really sad because I just realized I can't be buried in a Jewish cemetery now.
I think it must. My cousin, who just recently passed, everybody, and I actually was. She was very Jewish, and I'm pretty certain she had tattoos. So I think if you're a Reform Jew, you can get away with it.
So was there tattoos back then? Is that like something thousands of years old? People would take a little pin and... There were tattoos back when they were writing the Old Testament?
Why wouldn't they?
I don't know.
I mean, look at some of those Pacific Islander cultures. They had tattoos, right?
Oh, like the Maori tribesmen?
Sure, yeah.
But I mean, when did they have them? I don't know when they started doing that.
I don't know either, but that's a topic for another day. We could call it to tattoo or not to tattoo. That is the question. To wear a tutu, it's all about ballet or ink in your arm. One of the two. We can combine them.
Tutu tattoo.
Tutu tattoo tata today.
Well, that's a perfect sign-off. Tutu tat. I can't even say it.
Tater tot today.
Tata.
Feed and to go away. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. All right, well, this has been the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. This has been Matt and Greg, or Greg and Matt, depending upon which direction you're looking at us from. And anyway, so bye.
Your consultation with the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker has ended. You may pay your retainer at www.qsblaw.org. Please exit to the right of the water cooler and grab a candy from the front desk. We hope to see you again soon, but you need to leave now. I said leave. Why don't they ever listen? Get out! Get out!